On today's episode of the Command Center podcast, it's a safe space, guys. We got all these draft thoughts, things we're worried about, and so we talk about them. We just get everything off our chest and air our grievances about this year's draft. We're talking trade up, talking trade back, talking players we like, talking players we don't like. It all starts right now. Welcome into the Command Center podcast. I'm Logan Paulson here with Santana Moss and Fred Smoot. It is I. It doesn't get old.
The Cutler.
Doesn't get old. Guys, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's
how's the back?
You know what? The back is doing well. That was just one occasion. Let's not make this a chronic thing.
Like just told
I'm not
me.
Larry Bird.
You made it a chronic thing.
I'm not Larry Bird, all right? Listen,
I was literally just walking over here with you. I said, would you ever do flag football again, just for fun?
Yeah.
And you were like, my back's too messed up. That's like literally what you just said.
No, I said, I'm just getting back from that. And what happened was my back went out on me. Mortality.
I know.
I faced it. Like what it is, but my back is good. I'm riding my bike. I'm walking. I'm healthy.
He riding his bike.
Listen. I got a six-pack. I got a six-pack in the back of my back.
Yeah. But it's getting your back giving out. Though.
Fred, I just would love to just see a picture
Of me?
of you on the bike, maybe a thumbs up, like with the hat
So
on.
y'all want me to send it to our text thread?
Yeah, I'd love
He
that.
gonna be in the house on the bike.
No, listen.
He's gonna be at Target on a bike with his thumb up.
Listen, I told y'all I was getting more active. I am a lot more active right now. I'm doing a lot more, like working out, getting back into the routine, looking good. My pores looking good. I'm looking younger.
You said you were working out more after I beat you in basketball at one time.
Yeah.
And
Man, it hasn't
then you threw your back out and you said, I got to start working out again. So that was like a year in between.
Hey, well, guess what? Nothing humbles you like laying in a parking lot on the ground.
It's such a funny story. I love that story.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough about Fred's back. All right, so we got a couple housekeeping things to take care of. Okay, ticket to the draft. Obviously, we've got this bet between Fred and I. The result of that bet will happen and air tomorrow, April 17th. And basically,
Which is my birthday.
Which is your birthday, so happy birthday.
Best birthday in the world.
Best birthday. It's your mom's birthday too, right? Yeah. This is
Best birthday in the world.
Big deal for this podcast.
Totally opposite person. Like I can't say one thing. That's why I think the world of him when it comes to his brain, because she's intelligent, he's intelligent. Yeah. But damn, she don't drink, she don't hang. This dude just everything else.
John Daly
is your hero. So basically, we had to pick 6 prospects from last year's draft, the 2024 draft, who were going to be guaranteed ballers. Actually, we're doing that show for Ticket to the Draft coming up here soon too, for 2025. But we had to pick 6. I picked 6. Fred picked 6, and then Jason, our producer for the show.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, basically came out and had a rubric or a grading criteria.
Yeah.
And whoever had more points won.
Yeah.
And the other person has to get down on one knee.
Bend the knee.
And say, you're the best draft analyst.
Bend the knee.
And I am nothing.
I'm a Targaryen.
Papa. You are the best, Papa.
And so that's coming up. And then on Ticket to the Draft, which is the show we just talked about, we're doing a 7-round mock draft on Monday, the 21st. Featuring Fred Smoot and Jeremy Green, who are actually related, but they don't know it. They don't look like they're related, but they talk the same.
It happens.
They kind of tell jokes the same way. I kind of feel like it's going to be like a, like when like a
like
supernova.
you won't get to talk.
Like no one's going to get to talk. They're just going to talk over each other the whole time. It's going to be like when 2 stars collide and create like a supernova. It's just that's what's going to happen in this room, like a nuclear explosion.
Einstein-Rosen bridge that creates a black hole.
Rosenbridge.
Yeah, Einstein-Rosen bridge.
Rosenbridge?
No, Rosen bridge.
Okay, all right. I'm with it. I'm
Learn
hip.
something new every day with it.
Manhattan Project, let's do it. Okay. So, because the draft is coming up, this show is going to be heavily draft focused.
Yes.
And our producer, Jason, who co-hosts the Ticket to the Draft show, is going to join us for some of the segments. And so basically, he had a great idea, and it's that to come up with NFL draft safe space, right? So we can just kind of air our thoughts that we've been kind of closeting this whole time, put them out in the open. Let's talk about them, kind of like a therapy session for draft takes.
Yes.
And I think it's really, really smart because I have some very strong feelings about this draft class. specifically in the first round. So I think this is a good opportunity. I know, Fred, you've got some too. Tana, in our meeting, you had some really good ones as well. So I think this is a great opportunity to get them going. So we're all going to give our safe space thoughts, and then Jason's going to give one we're going to discuss. And just kind of talk through the big feelings we have, and hopefully get
It's
to.
like going to your shrink,
Yeah.
and you sit on the couch. You know it's a safe space for me to open up and tell you how I really feel. All right, most people don't want to talk about how they really feel, and how I really feel. If you want me to start this thing off, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let's start. Yeah, Fred, what you got?
This is how I really feel. You know, nobody wants to say this on the outside because everybody thinks that every draft is special, no matter what. I'd rather have 2 picks in the second round than 2 picks in the first.
Then 2 picks in the first.
Yeah, I'm just saying the talent to me isn't different.
It's this. No,
It's stagnant and it's the same. And I expected after coming out you remember last year I said something very bold. I felt like last year's draft was one of the best drafts of all time.
and it was a very good draft.
I felt like that. And then, after drafts like that, the next draft is always weak. It happened with me and Tanner in 2001. The 2002 draft was weaker than that, way weaker than ours. And I think this draft is getting a side effect of the draft being so strong.
Because there was so much talent up.
So much talent up top last year. And we got to say last year what really made that draft, I called them COVID babies. Everybody got their
extra
4th,
year.
5th year, extra years to play football. That jam-packed that draft and made it special.
Well, this is a weird year too because that junior college thing came out, that ruling where that doesn't count against your eligibility.
Yeah.
So all those kids who found extra eligibility went back to school. This was the last year of COVID. It was supposed to be this year, get back to normal. Then obviously that gets disrupted by the eligibility ruling. But I agree, Fred. Like for Ticket to the Draft, our Guaranteed Ballers show for 2025, I find it way easier to pick players that I absolutely loved in like the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round range, as opposed to that 1st round range. And we're going to talk about that more as we go on in the show. But it does feel like a weird year for the 1st round. Like you have to pick someone in the 1st round, but there's nobody there, Tana, that you're like.
And Logan, great athletes, great bodies.
Yeah.
Stats don't match.
Yeah.
Shamar Stewart, stats don't match.
Yeah.
When I see these dudes and when you project them, it's more safe than actually saying this guy's gonna be good. I just, it's something about it.
I also think it's safe to say that, throughout the years, history has shown us that, it's but so many go in the 1st round. But it has been proven that a lot of guys, a lot of greats have played in this league and has become Hall of Famers, Pro Bowlers, you name it, win Super Bowls that came in the later rounds anyways, especially 2nd round. And he was a 2nd round pick. You know names that we can call out right now that was in the 2nd round with
Chad Johnson, Steve Smith, all of them.
And that led this
Drew
league.
Brees.
You know what I mean? So it's safe to say that you see that every year.
Yeah.
That is, so I understand where you're coming from with that, Fred. I empathize with that. I think that's a pretty good take, actually. Because again, I think there's some really talented football players in the 2nd round. Tana, what's your safe space thought on the draft?
Do I have to get in that Fred voice?
Yes, because we're talking to our shrink.
No,
It's safe to say, because everyone don't want to listen to me. I'm always talking. I said I believe this year, and I think, like I said, this can go for any year, but this year in particular, late round backs will be some game changers this year.
It does feel that way.
Deep class.
And I only say that, and let me put my little take on it. The only reason why I say that is because I feel like despite what Saquon did last year, showing that the running back position should be valued a little more, him and your guy over there, King Henry. They proved that the running back should be valued more. The kid in Detroit, Gibbs, how talented he was. They've shown you that you should keep, giving us our
ain't a complete
flowers.
team
Appreciate
till you got one of us.
what we do for this game. Despite all that, they still don't believe in. You hear, analyst after analyst saying that, I won't pick that running back so high, and I'm like, bro, why not? If you need a running back, and this guy's available, you go get him. So with all that being said, you're going to see that these teams are going to allow a lot, and this draft has a lot of running backs. A lot of those guys are going to get bundled up at the bottom. And like I said, it's safe to say that it's going to be a lot of game changers. There's going to be a lot of great talent that get picked up from some teams that's going to be able to change the game.
The dangerous thing about that, me and Logan was talking about this walking in, is when you get a position with this many draft picks, it pushes the older backs out of the NFL.
Yeah.
Like so, when you get these 30 running backs coming in, that means 30 got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And I just think about, your Smiths from SMU, your CJ Harvey from UCF, your Basil Tootin from Virginia Tech, your KJ Dobbins, is that his name? No, that's
No. You're talking about you got Johnson from Iowa. You got,
he's a good player too.
Yeah,
but there's you could just go on and on about this running back
these
class.
guys.
And so I do think there are some guys that'll go in the second round.
Everybody seemed to like the Hunter. I like the Hunter kid from Auburn.
Oh yeah,
I think he can make
good
plays.
physical. Was it Jaquez?
Jaquez Hunter.
Yeah.
I saw the kid from Arizona State. Is that Arizona State?
Scatterboo.
I saw he ran like a 4.5, and guys were talking about it. I'm like, that's a big little butterball.
Yeah.
Dude. Like if he can run 4.5, that's great for him.
I think he needs to go to a cold weather team. Like when I close my eyes, I see him running downhill in Green Bay.
Pittsburgh?
Yeah, just anywhere that's cold weather outside and icky.
Baby bus?
Yeah, he gonna run downhill. Listen, I'm gonna tell you about the bus. I was trying to tackle Jerome Bettis. All right,
I'm shoe-screening that dude.
I can show you this play.
Tying him for him.
And I'm trying to wrap my arms around him, but his body's so bad. I couldn't wrap my.
Stop it, man.
No, I'm telling you, I'm trying to wrap my arms around him. He runs me over, and as I go to the ground, because I'm trying to just sacrifice it all. He ran me over, so be it. He lifts me back up and runs me over again. Right? All I'm saying is that bad body sometimes is a weapon.
Yeah.
Poor Cam Scatterboo getting tossed in with the bad body. But I do think, I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, in the second round, you should take a back. The commander should take a back. But I do think it's got a long runway in this group. And there's kind of stylistically something for everybody. So I think the playmaker thing, late rounds, is pretty awesome.
No doubt.
All right, we got just a guy, Jason, here, our producer, Jason.
Yeah, at least he ain't hater, Jason.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a hater. In fact,
jag.
I love the draft process. So this has been fun to do the Ticket to the Draft podcast. I don't know how safe this space is with Fred in here. So I probably should have thought of a different title for this segment. But here's my statement, guys, all right? Abdul Carter, he should be the #1 overall pick. And I'm going to go just a little bit deeper here. I think that teams should solely focus on drafting just linemen and quarterbacks. Figure out everything else in the offseason, whether that's with trades or free agency.
Just linemen and quarterbacks.
Just linemen and quarterbacks.
So just 10 positions just pushed out of here.
Well, this is obviously a safe space thought, right? Okay, so let's not get on me too much. But my thought process to this, Fred, because I see you just wanting to hate right back.
See you ready, right?
You're being a bad therapist.
Is that, let's say you have because you drafted well, right? Let's say you hit on 50%. That'd be very good.
Yeah.
So let's say you hit on that. So let's say you have very deep offensive linemen in your roster and you need a running back. Got a trade piece.
Yeah. I think
you're not spending a whole lot of money yet with quarterback because you're constantly having another guy come in on a rookie deal, a smaller rookie deal. So unless you find a franchise quarterback, which is really hard to do, then you just roll to the next one. Roll to the next one until you hit.
If I could say anything about your argument, this is what I'll say.
No, it's a safe space thought. He's not making an argument. He's just safe.
Yeah, it's just safe space.
This ain't so safe. Check this out. All right? If I take your mode of thought and how you draft, I'm going to be drafting in the same top tier spot every year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eventually, I have to fill in these slots to support that offensive lineman and that quarterback.
That's a lot of top 5 picks and linemen and quarterbacks.
That's the whole object.
One of them's going to hit.
No, this is what I'm saying. That's the whole object of picking up there is I don't want to pick here next year. I want to do what we did. I want to pick at 2 and come back the next year and pick at 29.
So what I will say to Jason's point, if you just look at this last free agency cycle, right? For example, like the Commanders were in it, right? So if you look at the most valuable assets that was traded for, it was Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah.
So if hypothetically you're, I don't know, the Just a Guy Jason franchise, right? And you're drafting offensive linemen and you have a way to develop them every year.
Yeah.
And teams know that you are developing offensive linemen, all of a sudden you are getting something that is very, very valuable league-wide because no one else really knows how to develop offensive linemen. No one's investing in offensive line the same way. And so that's interesting. And then couple that with the quarterback philosophy. I do think I kind of am in this same boat. Maybe not in the first round, but you should probably take and develop a quarterback every year because of the trade value of that player.
Now, thanks for defending me, Logan. I'm saying this as kind of like a obviously you don't do this to the T.
Yeah.
Because there will come a point, like you said, Fred, like, okay, you hit on a franchise quarterback, you got depth on your line. Now you can be a little more riskier in the background and go after like a wide receiver, trying to get value there. I'm just saying, if I'm starting over, if this is the very first year for this franchise, this is all I'm doing, and Abdul Carter is sitting right there, that's who I'm going with.
So are you not afraid of the Penn State bus rate?
No, not with him.
Penn State bus rate?
Most of the time Penn State players are bus.
Courtney
Yeah, so-
Brown.
Courtney Brown, or like put it like this: the ones that you put up very high,
Well, who else is it? I'm just trying to think. I can't.
Shafi Feet. It's so many dudes. Like I can go when here go my thing with Penn State. Penn State players sometimes are better college players than they are pros. All right, and we done seen this. I put it like this: if I told you Pitt, University of Pittsburgh, has a better hit range than Penn State, would you believe me?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
It does.
But it does.
It does. Like Pitt as a university puts out more quality players,
Got more Hall of Famers. Right
more
now.
Hall of Famers than Penn State, period. Hands down.
Yeah, so I'm a Penn State fan.
Yeah.
And there's not a great
Track record.
track record there, but when you do hit from Penn State, you hit.
Yeah.
You get Micah Parsons, LeVar,
Yep.
right,
LeVar
for
Arrington.
here.
I played with
right?
LeVar.
Like, so there are some good Saquon. Like there are some good players out of Penn
Barkley.
State.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, Abdul is going to be that guy. I mean, he is a freak, elite athlete.
Yeah.
Right. And he is high motor, smart, quick, twitched up. Like everything you want from a pass rusher, this guy has as a prospect. So I'm going with him.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd push back, I mean, he's a good football player, obviously, but the only thing I'd push back on is I do think Cam Ward can be a
Franchise guy?
I don't know, franchise, but definitely starter plus.
Yeah.
And if you're the Tennessee Titans, you haven't had like a good starting quarterback since Steve McNair.
So you just gonna give up on the mayonnaise man?
I think so. Yeah. I think that's the kind of Jason's point.
Is he
like,
too buff?
I don't even know if he's too buff. I just think he doesn't. His processing last year left something to be desired.
Processing killed them by itself. I mean,
Yeah, lack of consistent decision making. And so getting a playmaker in there, a guy that can elevate the floor of the entire organization in a way that, and it's not Abdul Carter's fault, but his impact is never going to be what a quarterback is.
So I agree with that completely. But because I have a rundown in front of me, let's move on to yours.
Yeah.
And what's your safe space? Because I think it actually supports what I'm saying here.
Yeah, so for me, there's only two blue chip players in this draft. So one being Abdul Carter and the other one being Ashton Genty. And so just because, and everyone says, oh, what about Travis Hunter? What about Will Johnson? What about Cam Ward? What about Mason Graham, the tackle from Michigan? And to me, like, they're not. Cam Ward, I think this is the other thing, too, that's important to understand. Like, with a quarterback, you multiply the grade by 1.2, right? It's always going to push him up. And so the idea that, and we talked about this last year with Jaden Daniels, and the idea of trading out of that spot is if you think he's got a shot, you stick and pick, right? And I think, like, when you're just weighing the positional value of quarterback is being superior to every other position, even though I think Ashton Genty is maybe the best player in the entire draft, like, I'm not going to take him one overall.
That says a lot.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to take him one overall. I'm probably not going to even take him top 10 because, again, I feel like the running back needs the scaffolding of the offensive line to support him. Like, it's not an independent position. So that's where it gets a little bit weird. Same thing with Abdul Carter. Like, I think if he goes to Cleveland, for example, and is rushing next to Myles Garrett, that's going to be really impactful, but it's not going to be as impactful as if Cam Ward is even Caleb Williams. You know what I'm saying?
We've had this edge conversation. Remember, we had the discussion about edge versus D tackle.
Yeah.
And the best edges right now in the last 10 years leading the league in sacks is TJ Watt.
TJ Watt, Myles Garrett,
like
Micah Parsons.
They have something in common.
buddy from Cincinnati,
no Super
the last
Bowls.
3 years.
Oh, yeah,
Henderson.
Henderson. That's right.
Trey Hendricks, they have something in common. No Super Bowls. All right. So the positional value says that if this quarterback ain't as good as this rusher, he still brings more to my team than the rusher does.
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly
So
right.
that's why I have to take Cam before I take Abdul.
Yeah, correct. And so that's where, like, when you're putting together your big board, right? It's not necessarily indicative of draft value.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like where they're going to go. It's not predicting draft because, again, positions like quarterback, you just bump up. And it's the same thing kind of you were talking about with running back, Tana. Like running back contracts right now are so cheap.
Yeah.
I'm probably more likely to take a receiver, an edge, defensive tackle, offensive lineman in the first round because then I get I get this. Those 4 positions,
Yeah.
they're offering like $30 million a year, you know, and a running back's like 14, 15.
Yeah.
So like, why would I, you know what I'm saying? Why would I risk
them for that
Yes,
high pick.
correct.
I think the running back is only now for teams that feel like they competing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
So like Ashton Genty to Chicago to me
yeah.
is awesome
Yeah.
because they've got their offensive line set up.
They got
you know, Ben
quarterback.
Johnson's going to run the football.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be a really nice fit if that's the direction they choose
The
to go.
icing on the cake.
Yeah,
That
right,
mean the cake
100%.
is done.
Yeah, 100%. So that's kind of what I feel about the 2 blue chipper thing. And a lot of people say, oh, Travis Hunter. To me, there's a lot of questions about Travis Hunter. Like, is he a good receiver? Yes. Is he a good corner? Yes.
Yeah.
Is he as good as Derek Singleton or Sauce Gardner? Like
Derek Stingley?
Derek Stingley?
No,
Like,
he's not Stingley.
That's what I'm saying. Or is he Patrick Surtain? Like, they're not that level of.
I don't feel like you remember we did our cornerback. What's his
Yeah.
name? He was not my first cornerback.
I remember.
It was Will Johnson. I feel like Will Johnson is more complete, meaning a better tackler.
Yeah.
I think he's stickier in coverage, and I just think overall as a cornerback, not a wide receiver, he's just better. Now when you get Travis, he helps you out on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
regardless.
But is he going to do that though?
Yeah, I think they.
I think whoever drafted gonna let
I mean,
him
the
play
way
both.
I'm hearing it, most folks say they're going to draft him as a corner and throw him in there on third down.
Yeah, let him play some wide receiver, some slot,
But I just feel like at the end of the day, like, don't take what made him who he is away.
and stop it.
I understand, don't put him out there like Colorado did for the whole game on both positions. But if he's special, if he's that special or as special as people have said, then you got to get a taste of that. You got to bring that to your, because it's not only going to help your team, it's going to help the people sit in those seats. You see what I'm saying? You're going to be able to sell the jerseys, sell the tickets, and also see great play.
I was on
out
a
there.
team that had a guy, Champ Bailey. We used to let Champ play wide receiver and running back.
Yeah.
And when they did it, it worked.
Yeah.
But Champ wasn't.
But the thing that gets me is like, how do you just do that from a schedule standpoint? Like, how are you the best corner on the team and the number 1 wide receiver? Like, think about your game plan, Tanner. When you were the guy, like, they're putting stuff in for you.
Yeah.
Defensively, like, they're putting stuff in for you.
That's why he has to go with the offense.
That's why I
like
say.
he got to go out because cover 2, cover 4, that ain't gonna change.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cover 1, that won't change. Learning that offensive playbook is harder.
I think personally, when you put him in at corner, because I feel like his body just says he's a corner. He got that Aki body.
Yeah.
When you put him in as a corner, now he can be your number 1 corner or whatever you want to do. You got a great defense. You can put him somewhere where he's gonna be a guy that's going to jump the ball. Be that zone guy. Whatever you want to do, he can do it. I feel like he can do it as a defender. Offensively, he don't have to be the man.
He don't need
He can
the whole
just be the
playbook.
guy that we gonna do special things with.
Yeah.
He can be my Swiss Army knife offensively, where I just line him up and he's gonna get the attention because one, he's on the field and people knows he's a threat.
Yeah.
He's gonna have that Prime effect, but he's probably gonna do more than what Prime and Bailey them was expected to do, and even Charles Wilson did.
Yeah.
Does it bother you, Fred, that he didn't run a 40, even at his pro day?
No.
I think
His film don't lie.
I think those guys set the tone last year
Yeah.
when they didn't do it.
Yeah,
When you
his
got
film-
those other guys not running 40.
His film doesn't lie.
It bothers me that he didn't run a 40.
he played-
Because if you're fast, run a 40.
Yeah, I'm just
Like,
saying.
Tanner, like,
he
you're
plays.
not-
He plays.
But I feel
I've never
like-
seen him get ran
But he
past.
doesn't, but he doesn't play that fast.
But I look at it like this. In my day, we had to run the 40 for our slot. So we can.
But were you nervous about running your 40? Because you know you're going to run fast, right?
I mean, you just didn't know. You know what I mean? It's like taking a test.
Yeah,
you
I'm
just
just like,
don't
you know. He
You know what I'm saying?
could have slipped
Like,
out
I
of
could
the
like
gun.
anything. My brother pulled his quad. I pulled my hamstring running my 40. And I'm glad I did it at the end. You see, my brother did his in the middle of his 40. And he still ran 4.3. You just don't know, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're not a good tester, I've seen guys that ran slow and had phenomenal careers.
Yeah.
So it don't really dictate who you're going to be as a player.
Yeah.
It just back then they allowed that to be used to slot you as a top pick.
A box they had to check.
All right, Fred, what's your next safe space thought about this draft?
Picks 35 through 75 will be collectively better than pick 1 through 34. That's telling you that this is, to me, not a top-heavy draft. And like I told you, it's a lot of guys out there that's built like Zeus with a heart of a BB.
I mean, even if you just go through the picks, right? You got Malachi Starks, big guy, not super productive, injured last year.
Yeah.
Shamar Stewart, only 4.5 sacks over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Mike Green coming from a small school. Donovan Ezeraku, only a pass rusher.
Yeah.
Right. Nick Scordon wasn't that productive last year after a productive 2023, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then who's that guy from Georgia, the linebacker? The number 11.
Walker?
Yeah, Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's Gonna probably play full-time edge, but he's only got 31-inch arms.
He reminds me of the Walker that got in Jacksonville right now, Trayvon Walker.
Yeah.
Like you look just built like Zeus, but a heart of a BB.
Yeah, so again, like there's a lot of questions about just the edge rushers, right? Then you look at the offensive linemen. I do think
Will Campbell arms are short.
Yeah, but I think he's a good football player though. And then Membu is another guy that's interesting, like really relatively new to football. I think those guys are it. But then after that, a lot of questions.
What about the wide receiver position?
Man? I think this is where I agree with you, Fred. I think if you look at the second round, third round, I like those route runners, those players a little bit better
than the
Kobe
top
George.
guys.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like the guys, the kid from Florida, the two guys from Miami, like good football players. But I look at Tetro McMillan. Like I like his film, but can he separate at the NFL level? Right?
Who is he? Is he Keyshawn Johnson? Is he like
just a guy?
No, like I want to know.
And then Matthew Golden, right? I love how he runs routes, but I don't feel on tape his speed. He ran a 4.29. I don't feel that when I watch him. He's really sudden. Mecca Mbuka is probably like the safest get on base pick.
The thing about Ibuka that really does it for me, last year we had him already slotted as the first rounder before the year he comes out, and Jeremiah Smith just comes in and makes him look regular. Make him looks regular, like a regular dude. Like in my head, he was a number one before this kid got here.
Yeah.
And then Luther Burton's the other one, the other kind of playmaking guy. And he's
all over the place.
I just talked to someone who had him in the third round. Like I literally just had a conversation.
You see him in the bottom of the first, then you see him in the third. Like I don't know where he's slotted at right now.
And so again, like a lot of questions for guys that are supposed to be going in the first round. The tight ends, I feel pretty good about.
I do feel good
about. You know what I'm
them.
saying? But so it's like 2 offensive linemen, 2 tight ends, a running back, a quarterback. The 2 safeties, I think, could be good football players. Malachi Starks and Nick Amenwari, I think, are the real deal. And then I think Hunter and Johnson. But outside of that, I'm a little bit like, pick your flavor, man.
Who knows? Like, it's just one of those, like I said, it's the draft after the draft. Yeah. Like, after that great draft, here go the draft.
Yeah, and so for our certified baller segment that we do for Ticket to the Draft, like I found it easier to pick 5 guys from 35 to 75 than I did from 1 to 30.
Yeah, easily.
So I agree with that.
Action packed with the talent in the back.
Hey, it happens. It happens, man.
And then so Tanner, you got
don't be afraid of small school guys. I think it's some small school gyms out there that's going to,
it is,
probably raise some eyebrows, before some of those top names, those big name guys. Yeah. We talked about the guy from Marshall.
Mike Green.
The Mike Green.
Dude, I said he's from a small school as a knock on him.
Yeah.
But dude,
he gets out there.
Yeah.
He can ball, man.
Will the NIL kill the small school? Because, you can start there.
So I think the NIL, what it's going to do going forward, this is just my take on it.
Yeah.
Especially the portal.
Yeah.
There's so many guys getting stuck and lost in that portal. You're going to get a lot of guys now that's not going to help out HBCUs, the other small schools like the Toledos, the
Bowling,
North Dakota
Greens,
States, like the schools that you just don't see people going to.
Yeah.
If you ain't getting the money you want and them schools got something and they need the talent, you're going to see these guys finding a way because right now I still don't have a cap. And I think eventually somebody...
Well, they start revenue sharing this year. The next year coming up.
Yeah, they start revenue sharing amongst their school, though, right? Not amongst the whole...
amongst the conference.
Amongst the conference, it's going to be revenue sharing. Oh, okay. I thought that was just for the school and all their different sports.
It's amongst the conference, but it's also amongst all the sports.
Okay, I got you. Well, my take on it is just I think a lot of these guys who get stuck in the portals... who get out of these who get these NIL deals and want to opt out, they're gonna end up finding themselves in some of them small schools, HBCUs, and now you're gonna get a lot of talent because me and Portis is talking about this by him going over to Delaware. He's at Delaware State with D-Jack. I was like, bro, eventually you guys are gonna be getting a lot of talent because think about how many high schoolers that's not getting picked up nowadays because of the portal.
Because they don't want freshmen.
You see what I'm saying?
They don't want freshmen.
People don't want freshmen no more.
Yeah.
Prime just said that. So you're gonna get a lot of these small schools now getting 2 or 3 guys a year
and becoming the starter school.
Yeah, and so now right now you got a Mike Green, we got the kid from North Dakota State,
we got a kid from Alabama State,
Gray Zabel.
Yeah, you got the kid from Toledo, played D tackle,
Alexander.
So you know what I mean. You're gonna get a guy. It's probably gonna be more in the future, but right now you got 2 or 3 of them that you can just name that might raise some eyebrows.
Those are 3 good small school call outs. Like in terms of good football players, those guys are awesome. And then you get later in the draft, there's like David Walker from Central Arkansas.
Yeah. And I take any player, any day, any time from North Dakota State. It's just certain schools I don't say no to their players.
Especially offensive linemen.
Yeah, offensive lineman from there.
I'll say no to a quarterback from North Dakota State.
Arkansas.
You know why?
I don't say.
Hold on with it. Nah, I ain't gonna say it. I'm gonna leave it alone. We're gonna keep it moving.
Well, yeah, two of them came kind of left a turd in the NFL, didn't they? It happens. But I take a player from Arkansas. Like, it's just certain schools, like, I like their style. Iowa, you ain't got to ask me twice to take no player from Iowa because you know you're going to get quality from that place.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. So, Tana, I like that too. You had two good ones, Tana. The running back one and that one I thought were excellent. Jason, what's yours? You got
Okay, yeah. So this draft is so deep. Okay, let me say what I mean by it's deep. I mean that there is a lot of the same. In the sense of like
Same
the
caliber player.
Same caliber. And there's so many of these guys that fit in the same caliber, the same tier, that the draft trade tax is going to be low. And what I mean by that is I don't think anyone is going to be clamoring to really move in this draft for a specific position.
No.
Now, maybe I want to move up a spot or two for a specific guy, but
It won't cost me an
I
arm
don't
and
think
leg.
there's going to be a lot of trades happening.
Yeah.
And if they do, the tax, what I mean by that is if you're trying to trade up into the top 10 for a quarterback, you're paying a hefty price.
Yeah.
In this draft, I don't think there's going to be a lot to pay to move up a spot.
So I think that's a great point. On the whole, I agree with you, but I do think it's just being aware how teams value quarterbacks. Like, does Shador take a slide? Is Jackson Dart higher on people's boards?
Now, wait a minute. For quarterback, there's always a tax.
Right.
No,
That's a
I'm saying-
positional tax.
But it's just to
I'm
kinda-
just talking about like, I have a tier here of
And I wanna
defensive
move
linemen
up
or
three
linemen.
spots. It won't
Three
cost-
spots
it
for
won't-
just this guy. It's not going to cost
But
you
it would have
that
cost
much.
you an arm and a leg last year.
Correct.
It would have cost you an arm and a
Absolutely.
leg last year, and this year is not. Like, it's just.
Well, I do think also, I think there's, like with anything, there's exceptions to the rule. So, for example, if Mike Green, Mike may be a bad example, but like, let's take Harmon from Oregon, the defensive tackle. If he takes a little bit of a slide and he's there at 29 or 30, I could see a team trading into the first round because I think he's a stellar football player. I think he's like a top 20, top 15 type guy. But that's where like individual team evaluations become important. And if a guy's falling through tiers, like crazy for you, like let's say he's a first tier player for me, hypothetically.
All right, let's just say one of the tight ends because I feel like that's a strong group.
Yeah, it is a strong
Let's say the tight ends start to slide. I see people making domino effects to try to get in there to get one or two of these.
Yeah, because I think personally, I think Colson Loveland's a special football player.
Yeah, I think it.
So
I like Warren.
So let's say he's fallen down the board a little bit.
yeah.
Because he's in a different tier of the position, then maybe they're going to make a move. And again, I think it depends on the type of player and how far they've fallen based on that team's board. But generally, I agree with what you're saying. I don't think it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, unless a team is actually absolutely in love with a player, I just don't think they're going to give up a whole lot to move up to get that guy.
Yeah, I
or
feel
if
you
it's
on
that
that.
position. Because like you said, unless you absolutely love them, you're only bidding against yourself.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of teams, I think, that are going to go, okay, Harmon's here, but if I wait 3 spots or 4 spots, I can still get a really good defensive tackle.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Right? That's what I mean.
No, I'm with you 100%. And then mine is the difference between 5 and 30 is nothing. And I absolutely mean that.
It's
I'm
not.
not being hyperbolic.
No, it's not.
It's zero. Right? It's like
No, it's
the player you're going to get at 5 is about the same as the player you're going to get at 30.
Damn it, man.
I have nothing to say.
So let me ask you a question off of that, just financially speaking, right? So if that's the case, do you see a lot of skill positions in those premier positions going early then, just because you want to get that?
Quarterbacks and offensive linemen dictate the draft. They dictate the floor of the draft. They dictate the simulation of the draft. As they go, the draft goes. No other position kind of does that. Like people will make a run on the offensive linemen, and they got questions about them. But if they got the size they looking for in some film, they taking them, and that shapes the draft. That shapes the drafts right there.
Yeah, and what I mean by, yes, I agree with you. So what I'm saying is if there's like a defensive tackle that you want to take, and it means like you can take one a little bit later, like what you're saying,
Yeah.
it's nothing to wait a little
nothing.
bit.
It's nothing.
Then why not, if you're picking at 7 and you
Yeah.
have to pick
Trade
at 7,
back.
or take a skill position because the cost is less of a skill, like a wide receiver on a rookie deal versus defensive lineman on a rookie deal.
Well, so
you see what I
now,
mean
I
there?
think now, like in terms of what you're saying, I think defensive tackle, defensive end, offensive tackle, and receiver are all kind of financially in the same bucket. Like we just saw Milton get paid $30 million a year up in New England, right? So those contracts are huge. So I'd say one of those 4 positions, like if you got a good grade on a guy, like go for it.
Right.
you
And
know?
this is probably why you'll see running back slide.
I think so.
Because I was looking up something when you were talking about running backs and edges earlier. And Myles Garrett, his rookie contract, he made $7.5 million a year. Now he makes $40 million a year.
Yeah.
Saquon's rookie contract was $8 million. Now he makes $12 million.
Yeah.
So like,
Damn,
yeah,
that's
crazy, right?
that's why you get that edge rusher and you wait for running backs because of the
Money-wise,
financial money.
So
wise part
so
of it.
you saying that though? You saying that 5 to 30 is particularly for this draft, or that's just going to be something
For this draft.
For this draft,
Like
yeah.
last year, there's the
Yeah,
quarterbacks at the
quarterbacks,
top, there's
yeah.
the receivers, there's
Now
the
just making
it's
sure
just-
because this draft is what we said it was before.
Yeah.
It stinks a little bit. You know what I mean?
Like,
let's be real.
like, think about it. Last year had probably a just true top prospect. They probably had 3 in each position almost.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like, it was just
No, it was
ridiculous.
loaded. It was loaded to the end. I mean, you had quarterbacks that we knew was going to
Good
go
Lord.
early, but they was doing musical chairs with them. Oh, I think this guy could go in front of this guy. I'm like, well, damn.
But
like,
then you look at the running back, had a blue chip, tight end, Brock Bowers, blue chip, like Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas
Yeah.
And Marvin Harrison Jr.
Marvin Harrison
Yeah.
Jr. They just blue chip after blue chip after blue chip, and it made it hard for you to say which one do I want.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So
Especially
I
with
think
the quarterbacks, too.
this year again. Like I think, to be clear, these guys are good football players.
Yeah.
It's just
the draft.
The
It, like-
peaks, not like with those other prospects. We got spoiled last year. Like
Yeah.
Joe Alt was maybe the cleanest
Offensive
prospect.
lineman I ever seen, and the biggest man I
Just
think I ever seen
clean,
in my life.
right? And here with like Will Campbell, oh, he's got small arms. Membu's only played offensive line for, you know what I mean? Like there's just questions about him in a way that there weren't last year. Even with the receivers, like I like Tetra McMillan a lot,
Yeah.
right? Don't get me wrong, but like Roma Dunze, Malik, like,
He
just
don't add up to those guys.
Even Brian Thomas was in a different
Class.
tier. So
Yeah.
I think that's what we're talking. Like last year was just a special year. This year is just more questions and a little bit like
it's just regular unleaded gas.
And then-
All right? You put that in weed eaters and lawnmowers.
All right, so now that's going to lead us to our last segment of the show. Fan favorite, Risk It for the Biscuit.
Biscuit.
Trading places in the NFL draft, presented by Marsh McLennan Agency, your partner in risk and people strategies. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is a question I get all the time. And every draft analyst that I've talked to, like in the media, is like, if the Washington Commanders are picking at 29,
Yeah.
I think they should trade back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think there will be a good football player there at 29.
Yep.
Like we can talk about a couple of them, Donovan Ezeraku, Nick Scordon,
Yep.
you know,
Whoever. Yep.
Mbuka, whoever you want to talk about there. I think there's going to be someone good there, right? But trading back, you're going to be able to get more draft capital, get more picks.
More value.
However, the thing that I keep coming back to, and Jason brought this up with his comment, is who's going to trade with you?
Yeah.
Oh, I already got a plan.
What we got?
All right. What you want to do is you want to find somebody out there that's either needy, they have to have a certain position. I'm going and I'm knocking on the door of the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
I heard you need a quarterback.
I like this one.
I'm
Actually.
at 29. You want to get Jackson Dart from Ole Miss? You give me your second round and your third round. All right? So now that gives me 2 second-round picks, and then I get to replace my third round that I traded.
Yeah, that we lost.
Right? They get Jackson Dart, who they want, and guess what? With them taking Jackson Dart at 29, you're still not shopping in the position that I was shopping in.
Yeah.
All right? The
So how many picks New Orleans they have in the first round?
So they have
yeah.
9. They have 9 total picks.
Yeah, I told them, but I'm saying they had. I thought they had a one in the first
They
round.
got a
that was
top
little-
10.
Exactly. So
top 10, so
they
then-
might feel
so that
that
mean
with
they-
Shador if Shador sitting
might.
around.
Well, think about it.
They might not need that
If
29 pick.
True that. That's why I say
I'm just
if
trying
they
to be a
don't,
little, you know.
if they don't take Shador, that's why I was saying if they don't,
Yeah,
because
then-
because they're not in the top 5.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that regardless, you got to get the third best quarterback.
Gotcha.
All right, and they might say, all right, why would I take the bad third quarterback when I can get McMillan at wide receiver here, get back in the bottom of the first round, and take Jackson Dart? Now I got 2 things.
So you think McMillan go before Arizona? Wired out.
Before the Arizona wideout.
McMillan is the Arizona.
Oh,
guy.
man, I mean McMillan's the Arizona.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the other kid. What's the other kid name is that we talked about yesterday?
Ibuku.
Mbuka?
Ibuku?
Might be
From Ohio State?
From Ohio State.
Yeah, that's him. I think he's a bottom of the first round guy, but I see Golden
but
pushing him.
That's
Yeah.
the thing, though, about this is like the difference between those 3 guys.
It's nothing.
It's kind of like beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say I'm picking at 8 and I really like McMillan. Like, I'm going to go that way. But if I'm at 8 and I really like, if I'm Carolina, I'm at 8 and I like.
What separates them to you? You're a corner.
Yeah.
I know what separates just me watching them.
Yeah. McMillan, to me, everybody worried about his separation. I don't, because that's what he do. He catch contested balls.
Yeah.
He's got great hands.
And he got what I call bad catch radius, meaning his arms are so long he can catch bad balls no matter where you throw him in. So I don't need him to have
It's
a big
crazy
speed.
because he didn't measure long, but his timing is really good.
He reminds me a little bit of
a basketball player.
Mike Evans, body kind of. When Mike first got in the league, you was like, okay, got a gear or two on him.
Yeah.
He ain't slow. And then the other kid that they got over there in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Drake London.
Drake London, yeah.
To me, he had that kind
He's
of.
very much Drake London to me.
And again, Drake London was special because of the physicality. He almost plays like a tight end.
Yeah.
McMillan doesn't.
No, he's not. Yeah, not that fast.
But I think he's got better long speed.
I've been saying he's a little bit more
I like the way he
polished of
attacked
a
the
route
ball.
runner.
He attacked the ball like both of those
He
guys.
attacks the ball.
that's a great point.
And that's why I would take him over Abiku, because he does.
Biku more of a. To me, he's a kid that they got in New Orleans. He's a savvy.
Chris Olave.
Olave. He's a smooth runner. He
Yeah.
can run routes. He don't.
Olave got another gear.
But he reminds me of like Puka Nacua.
Yeah, but
Yes,
Super
he's-
Cup.
yeah.
So he's a guy that they put in those tough situations where he catch those contested balls that you might not think that he'll go after.
Yeah.
But I just think to me, I didn't see nothing that was flash.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I said, probably because that little number 4 over there was
Yeah.
just doing so much.
Yeah.
He didn't flash to me.
So I think, but the other guy is Matthew Golden that I think is interesting, and he's a guy that 10. I think I don't know if you've watched him from Texas. He's
Yeah,
number
I have.
2.
Yeah.
He's super good in his routes, very technical. But again, I don't know if I feel like like when there's a number 1 receiver on the field.
You don't feel like he's worthy from last year.
It doesn't feel that way. But
I
again,
didn't know Worthy was going to be that dynamic in the league. I knew he was going to be fast, but
Yeah.
I didn't watch him from college and say, man, he's going to go to the league and
Ball
tear
out.
it up.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
So basically, the point of this discussion is to say that New Orleans, who we're talking about, right?
Yeah,
they're
New
picking
Orleans,
top.
yeah.
They're picking 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
They're also picking 40.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say they take Tetro McMillan.
Yeah.
And then my question is, I think Jackson Dart's a second-round player. So
Yeah.
do you just stick and pick at 40, or do you feel urgent?
But we watch this every year of people get antsy with these quarterbacks, and like overdrafting quarterbacks is normal.
Yeah.
Like overdrafting a wide receiver, they'll talk trash to you then. But nobody ever says anything about overdrafting a quarterback because it's just the commodity too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that's the thing. It really depends on where the quarterbacks go. To me,
Yeah.
And again, if there's a team that like loves a player,
Yeah.
maybe they trade up with you. But to me, it's the quarterbacks. It depends on where that evaluation comes out. Because like right now, you talk to anybody and you'll get a crazy different. Like we were talking about in the production meeting. Like Mel Kiper he's the first. Shedeur Sanders is the first pick on his board over Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Right. So like you can get a team that really loves
Shedeur.
right?
Yeah.
Or you get a team that really loves Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Or what's
Which
the guy's-
Jackson Dart film is great.
Yeah. Will Howard from Ohio
Now,
State.
I'm not high on Will Howard.
What's the guy from Louisville? What's his name? Shuck. Tyler Shuck. Like
Which he's climbing everybody's board right now.
But again, like wherever those guys end up going, that's going to lead to trade value, I think, more than anything. And so if you can trade back, like Fred talked about with his, like you'd rather 2 picks in the second than 1 pick in the first. I think that's 100% right. If you can make that happen, awesome. But I just don't know who's going to dance because I think everybody else is starting to become aware of this. Like teams are smart.
Yeah.
Not really. We give these people too much credit.
That's probably
We watch tomfoolery all the time. Right? A team down the street, let Saquon walk out of there and said, let's pay Daniel Jones. We have seen tomfoolery all the time. And when it comes to the draft, the one thing I can say about this, every team think they right. Every team think they
That is
drafting
true.
the right person at the right time
Yeah.
to the right team. And how many times do we watch maybe 1/4 of a draft class actually be pros, and the
But I
rest of the
think-
guys gone?
I think most of the teams you see that draft or missing the draft is when they reaching. They need that position so bad
To fill a
There's no
position.
choice. They have no choice but to pick what's available.
Yeah.
And that guy might not fit what they have going on, but they gotta
take it.
You know what I mean?
Isn't that what Adam Peters said to you? He
Yes.
said that's like what hurts you the most.
Yes.
That's when you make a mistake.
He said the one thing I will not go into a draft doing is going in there and pigeonholing myself.
Yeah.
I will never be forced to take a guy just because I have a position need. He said I would draft another position and I find another way to fill that position.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to force
I
it
think
in
that's
that
smart
draft.
though. I mean, that's what you want. You want to be able to say, okay, I'm not Like last year, we had to get a quarterback.
We had to get a quarterback.
That was you know, we understood that.
but I also
it was
think-
perfect. Like,
Yes.
for
But I
where-
say, it was one of the best
it was one of
quarterback
the-
drafts
yeah,
all time.
It was. We was in the right slot, and they had enough guys that we could have choose from. But we had the one guy that we knew. And it's safe to say, even if Caleb would have failed to second,
We would have won with Caleb. We would have won with Drake May.
Yeah.
Michael. All these guys. Bo Nix showed y'all we can flat out play this
But I'm
game.
so glad we got the guy we got. 'Cause
Yeah,
I feel like
we
he
got
fit-
the
he
guy.
fit what we
Yeah,
needed
we
here.
got the guy.
But I think like that was the luxury of last year.
Yeah.
And then this year, if you're the Giants, you're like, man, we need a quarterback real bad.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh.
Okay. Who thought?
Top lip stain.
Yeah, you thought somebody farted in the room. What happened?
Dude, this is a little off
That
topic.
sucks, man.
But how about the Giants having such a bad Hard Knocks that they killed the show?
No. Right
How
now,
about
killed the
that?
show?
No.
Yeah, no more Hard Knocks.
listen.
They killed the show that bad.
Well, because no one wants to do it. Could you
Listen.
imagine, like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, hey, man, like,
because of that whole thing.
the whole thing.
Like,
my
listen to
God.
me. It's if you're a New York Giant fan, they just took the air out the room for you.
Yeah.
Like they took the air, and then the owner sit here and said it. I don't want to let him go.
No, I don't even think that was the problem. To me, knowing that your son has a clue and you don't,
Yeah.
that's man. I think you need to get that guy there. I like this, and
no.
you don't get. And don't get me wrong, you need to listen to your kids.
You
but
told this man, I don't want to see Saquon at Philadelphia.
Yeah, that was a wild.
One day after him being on the market and he in Philadelphia winning the Super Bowl. No.
to me, I think that hurt the most.
And you-
won
and
the
you
Super
cut-
Bowl, and he led the league in the damn.
and almost broke the record.
Almost broke the record.
And you cut Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Dude, I think that was the thing that when I saw that, I was like, they don't understand the dynamic of that team. Like Saquon was the only explosive weapon they had on the
all
team.
they had.
And they're
It
like,
made Daniel Jones who he was. Like you obviously saw that. Daniel Jones beat nobody but us.
Vanilla Vic. when he pops up at West Stadium.
At the time when we was poor. You know what I mean? Piss poor.
Yeah, we was terrible. We was terrible. But he took advantage of that.
Took advantage of it.
all right, so we talked about trading down in the draft. Is there any benefit to trading up?
Only when you got that player in your eyesight.
Yeah.
I know, but this year, I don't know.
No, I'm gonna say this year.
I feel like if you, due to the fact that we're sitting where we at, and if you got the best player of the draft that you can fill your roster with, and he's there, you go ahead. I think the only thing that you can do that will raise my eyebrows, have me, I guess you could say rubbing my hands if we trade back, saying that we get more picks and we know it's going to be talent sitting around.
Yeah.
Because then I'll be thinking about, okay, running back or somebody in that second round that we can really, do some great things with. But I feel like we straight. And it's not because I sat there and watched you and AP talk and have so much chemistry together.
Yeah.
It's just seeing these
It was
moves.
pretty wild, actually.
Seeing these moves beforehand.
Yeah.
Before y'all had that talk, I'm watching these moves he's making. I'm like, bro, I haven't seen a guy move like this with this organization in a long time. You know?
And he was telling you about his moves. I don't feel high about this draft.
Yeah.
I don't feel high about free agency.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go cherry pick off people's roster. He's letting you know by his actions how he feel about this draft class, and I think a lot of people feel this way about this draft class. Tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and then the other one is just obviously trade up, trade back, and then you stick and pick. And I actually feel really good about sticking and picking in this draft. I think there's going to be a good, again, because like I said, between 5 and 30, flip a coin.
Have you ever drove a stick shift?
Yes, once.
Ain't nothing like hitting that clutch and putting that thing in reverse. You remember when we had no camera, we had to look over our shoulder. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I want to get, if I can't get one gigantic great entity, I'd rather get a lot of small ones.
Yeah.
So they can combine and be the entity that I want them to be. Because the first thing he said is, I'm going to truly build this team through the draft. So if you're going to truly build it to the draft, every year you got to add just that much more talent.
And I think the other thing too important to remember, because someone said, "Oh, we only have 5 picks," but I also will say that last year 3 undrafted free agents made this team.
Yeah.
And so they did a good job of identifying people that they felt could make the team, and that's another element where I think having a guy like AP, having this whole front office staff, like someone dedicated to it, you can find those gems, right? So I think that's it. So I think obviously we're really excited about the draft, and every year the draft is so fun to talk about because it's so different.
The daydreams come true. I call it the day of tears.
They had tears, good tears though.
No,
I guess
happy
bad,
tears.
or bad.
No,
tears.
it's gonna be some bad ones too, because guys ain't gonna go where they thought they should win, and it's a different
Humble
type of tears.
yourself before that day.
Yeah.
In Fred Smooth voice. Because he was sitting up there like, I knew I shouldn't have had that party.
Why couldn't I wait? But guess what? A blessing happened.
Yeah,
I
no
came
doubt.
here.
You came here.
And I listen. That was the
Everything
best-
happened meant, it was
for a
meant
reason.
to happen.
Yep. So I was perfect. Like it's the
Yeah.
best thing could have happened to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that's going to do it for today's show. Please make sure you like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. If there's someone that you think we should draft, please leave a comment. We always appreciate that insight. But that's going to do it for today's show.
And I did make this shirt for
Oh,
our
you
guy,
did make
Adam
that shirt.
Peters. Adam Peters. Let grandma cook.
There we go.
Be patient.